Helland. I work with the Abuse Persons Outreach Center. My role there has changed recently, so I'm an advocate there, but I also do like their outreach, and I do like safe dates in the high schools and stuff like that. And now I'm also running their Green Dot program. I don't know if you guys have heard of that or not, but that's kind of going through some changes too. So I'll just tell you some about APOC to get started. We are a rape and abuse crisis center. We've been here since 1985, and our mission has been to eliminate domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, elder abuse, and the goal is simple: help victims find safety, provide support, and connect them with resources to heal and rebuild their lives. So as APOC, we serve Barnes County, Griggs County, and Steele counties. We're located in Barnes, but we try to get up to the other counties as much as possible. They have tried in the past to like kind of have a location up there, but it seems now with like telehealth and stuff like that, we can kind of use that as an option. We do have a 24-hour crisis line also. There's only 3 advocates at APOC, and one of the 3 of us is always on call. We have a cell phone with us. And then we do rely on volunteers for that too. So like the first call usually goes to a volunteer, and if they like need further help than what they're trained to do, then they call on the person who's on call, and we help to make sure whoever is in need gets what they want or to safety. As I said, we had 3 advocates right now. We are all trained. We're all trained under Rule 34 as well. So for like protection orders and stuff, we can go sit with victims during court if they're getting a protection order. We can't speak, we're not lawyers. We can't give any legal advice, but we're able to go sit up there and kind of be that person sitting in between the situation, providing safety. So we'll help safety plan, help navigate the legal system, help with housing, help with emergency shelter. We don't have a shelter here, but we can find a safe place for someone or someone and their kids to stay for a night or 2 while we work with them on finding housing. We do have ways to kind of speed up the housing process if they're trying to apply for housing and stuff like that too. And we do have a transitional housing program, so we can offer additional assistance for especially those who don't necessarily qualify for housing, but can't quite figure out how to do it on their own right away. So we have that too. Working in a rural area definitely comes with different challenges here. As you can imagine, the isolation, the financial barriers. We have a very close-knit community. So everyone knows everyone, so reporting abuse feels daunting. And people worry about running into their abuser around town or losing the support that they have. The statistics from our work also show how critical our services are. We have 33% of our clients that report a weapon being used during a violent incident, which is 3 times the state average. So being in those rural communities kind of add a different level of severity. Honestly, it's just by the time it's reported is what seems to be the case most of the time. And last year, 20 of our clients were homeless when they reached us in the first place too. So getting out and doing things like this is so important for us, and we're trying to get better about that and getting in the community so everyone knows we're here. Just because you come see us doesn't mean you need to leave. That's also a big misunderstanding. Like, we're there to support, We're there to support the client or victim in whatever way they want. We're not here to tell someone what to do. We're there to support them. Victim-centered, trauma-informed approach has always been our take. And we aim to meet survivors where they are and just build trust and just let them guide the way. So some of our stats, they're going to be from 2023. We're still working on 2024, but they're pretty much the same. We provided nearly 3,000 services to 160 victims. That would be just over 1,000 advocacy services, 214 crisis responses. We provided 250 hours of counseling and helped 34 individuals relocate. But it's not just about individual support. We also work to change the culture around abuse, from different awareness campaigns to prevention programs in schools, things like this, and then also things like Green Dot, which I'll go into a little bit too. Bottom line, we believe every person deserves a life free from violence. Our services are free, confidential, and tailored to each unique individual and challenges they may face. Funding-wise, we are funded. We get both state and federal grants that we apply for. We also rely heavily on donations and different grant matches and things that way. So that's how we're run. A lot of people ask, if they know someone in an abusive situation, kind of what can they do? Like, from the outside perspective, what's the best thing they can do? And honestly, I always just go back to my Safe Dates material. I know it's for high schoolers, but it's just so relevant all through and always a good reminder. So the main things, if you know someone in an abusive relationship, obviously don't gossip, don't spread that around. You can talk to them about it. The biggest thing is just believe their story. If someone comes to you and says something's going on, believe them. And it sounds easier than it is too, because some of the stories you hear are so outlandish, you think it can't be real. And it is. So just believing that story, because we all know that feeling of you tell someone something and they like doubt you or give you that look, So just believing them. Making them aware that they don't deserve it, but making sure that they can make their own decisions. Telling them to leave, like they know what they want to do or what's best for them. So just telling them to leave isn't going to change anything for them and will make someone feel judged, But you can help make a safety plan. There's tons of resources for that online or with us, or, just giving them the resources that just because you go to a place like APOC, they're not going to be like making you leave the situation. We're there for support. We can make safety plans with you to stay. I mean, from all sorts of angles, we're not going to make you leave. And just provide your friend with help or resources, whatever that might look like, whether they don't want to reach out and you want to get the materials for them or whatever that looks like for you. So does that kind of make sense for APOC? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm a counselor at the college here.
Oh, yeah.
And so the people that you help, if they are from out of state, we have students.
Yes.
That use your services at times.
Absolutely.
So they do not have to be a resident.
They do not. Nope.
Because sometimes it's partner stuff, sometimes it's family of origin stuff that
absolutely
they have to deal with when they go home, or sometimes I've even had students that have a really hard time with parents that will not let them be independent. So
yeah, that power and control is a real.
Exactly. So okay, good. That's good to know.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. The only time we run into trouble with that is like if we actually need protection order and stuff like that. But even that, you want it here.
Yep, exactly.
So
Okay.
yes,
Good to know.
yes. And we do have a counselor that comes every week too. So, and like I said, it's all free services. So
Sounds good.
yeah. And you can always email us too if you have questions. Yeah. Okay. So the second part, unless there's anything else about APOC, kind of makes sense. Yeah. Okay, the second part that I'm going to go over is Green Dot. I'm still newer to Green Dot, but I do think it's so relevant here. It's all about being an active bystander. You know, you see something, say something kind of thing. It goes back to the basics, but it's so much easier said than done. Let's see what, okay. So Green Dot is a bystander intervention that focuses on reducing the number of people who experience sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, stalking, and it just really gets members of the community involved. We're here in the first place because too many people have experienced sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, and stalking. It includes your friends, neighbors, colleagues, family members, and we must do something about it. You're involved community members and you play an important role in your community, not only as a bystander who could potentially intervene, but also in reinforcing of the culture and norms that we want to create here. To best explain how sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, and stalking can be prevented through small but impactful behaviors, I'd like to introduce a simple metaphor. So visualize an image of your community as you go through your daily routine. The buildings, the sidewalks, the streets, the neighborhoods. Visualize the bars, the restaurants, where people gather, the places of worship, parks, trails. Then imagine each time someone makes a single choice to use their words or actions to hurt someone, a small red dot appears in one of those spaces. Like the moment it takes for someone to hit someone else, a caregiver crossing a line when disciplining a child, someone having sex without someone's consent, someone using their words to humiliate, threaten, or coerce someone. A red dot is a single decision, and enough of these have added up to create a culture that allows unacceptable rates of sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, and stalking. Might be someone showing up unwanted outside someone's work, their class, their car. The red dots are the problems. So green dots are the solution. A green dot is simply an act someone can take to stop a red dot from happening. So some green dots you're likely already doing, like checking in with someone, letting them know you're concerned, connecting someone with resources, letting them know they're not alone, being there to support them. The goal is simple, and there are more green dots than when there are more green dots than red, the culture can start to shift and rates of sexual assault, domestic violence, stalking, and child abuse can be reduced. So our program is based on introducing our community to these bystander interventions, recognizing it, identifying the barriers, learning to intervene, and strengthening that new norm in your community. Barriers are a big part of this, of course. There's personal barriers, for instance, being an introvert, being afraid of physical escalation or retaliation, uncertainty, not wanting to make a scene or embarrass yourself, or relationship or social barriers, for instance, not wanting to break an unspoken rule in your group, being perceived as like a snitch or biased, or just feeling uncomfortable. No matter what your barriers are, though, we know they're not going to just disappear after a green dot training, and it's important to recognize them because we want you to think about green dots that would be more realistic for you, even with your barriers. So the key to this for green dot is we just call it the 3Ds: direct, delegate, and distract. Being direct would be, what you think of, do something yourself, right? Often it's thought that direct option must include some form of confrontation. Yes, you can address the person doing the concerning behavior by telling them to stop what they're doing, but you can also choose a less confrontational route by simply checking in on someone you might be worried about. So that's direct. Delegate, ask someone else to get involved, ask a friend, someone you're with, or distract. Diffuse the situation or calm things down in the moment by creating a diversion. Change the subject, say you need a ride, ask for directions, make a loud noise, right? Whatever that might look like. There is no right or wrong answer when it comes to how to intervene. You don't get more points for doing something directly or addressing something. If you need to accidentally do something like spill your drink to distract, that works just as well. There's also a second type of green dot that we call proactive green dots. And these are things that we can do to begin stopping red dots before they even start. They begin to reset the community norms to make it clear that these things will not be tolerated. Proactive green dots are designed to fill in the spaces in our community where neither red or green dots have occurred. So these are things like having a green dot sticker on your water bottle, or going to a bystander training, or having a conversation with someone about being a bystander, or having a green dot sticker on your window at your business. Just bringing up those conversations, right? Giving someone an opportunity to ask what it is. Your list of proactive green dots should clearly answer one important question. If a new person came to your community through your friend group, workplace, faith community, or family, how would they know that you do not tolerate violence and you expect someone to do their part? When you can answer that question with a specific list, that's when you're helping set new norms. And just remember, all the green dots add up to something much bigger, right? We do like to keep track of them. So like we on our website have a link to show kind of like how many green dots are in our community, but also in the state, because there's other programs in the state for green dot too. So it's kind of a fun way to do it. We do have like long trainings, or they're like 3-hour trainings on green dot. And it actually goes through how to actually be an active bystander, right? Kind of puts you in those situations to learn. Because like I said, it's much easier said than done. I'm definitely not a direct person to intervene. I know our director, Casey, is definitely that direct person. So for instance, I might delegate in a situation to her and she would make the direct intervention in some of those instances. But more often than not, I'm going to distract. That's just my tactic for being an active bystander, and that's just where my barriers put me. So it's kind of nice to know where you stand and what you can actually do, because I know we've all been in those situations where you hear someone getting yelled at in a parking lot and you know you should do something, but what do you do? So going through that training kind of runs you through different scenarios of what you could do with your barriers in mind, so you're not feeling uncomfortable either, if that kind of makes sense. Do you guys have any questions on green dot?
In those instances, how do you keep yourself safe?
That's where a lot of that training comes into play, and honestly why that might be a barrier for a person, right? So that's where distract might be the best option. You know, you're not sure if it's safe to intervene in a parking lot, say, when someone's getting yelled at. But maybe if it's snowing out, you knock a bunch of snow off your car, or you hear someone yelling outside at night. Well, suddenly you're looking for your dog. You know, you're opening the door, Gus, where are you, Gus? You know, just those different distraction tactics might be better, or calling 911. It's kind of where your own feeling of safety, because you never want to put yourself in a situation either. So like one scenario, for instance, say you're here working out, you notice a friend's ex is standing by her car waiting for her when she gets done working out. You know she doesn't want him there. But every day after you guys get done working out, you see that he's still standing there waiting to talk to her every day. What could you do? You guys know? Like, what would you do?
I would probably delegate and give it to like the facility and say, hey, there's somebody out there, and have them kind of deal with it, so that way it's not looking like it's us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If it's your friend, you could ask her, right? Or walk with her out so she feels safe. Like I said, our director, Casey, would march right out there herself and say, why are you here? Go away. You know, that's just, you know, we all have different barriers, and she would have a hard time delegating for someone else to do it or take care of the situation. So it kind of looks different. Yeah.
So how do people get information on the bystander trainings, like when they are, where they are, how they can bring it into their organization?
Question. So I would say your best source right now would be our website. We do have a Valley City Green Dot website and Facebook page, and you can message us on Facebook. There's an email on our website that you can email, or you can always call the APOC office too. Like I said, I work there too, because we're a small town and we all wear a lot of hats, as you all probably know. So I think that would be the best way. We do, I know we're going to have a training, like one of the 3-hour sessions in May, real early May. But we can also put one on for a specific group. You know, like if, I'm trying to think who they did one like at John Deere for like the John Deere employees, you know, so it's a little more tailored to kind of who it's to. They've done one for like the nurses, because, you know, they're obviously put in a lot of bystander situations. And we all are, and you just don't think about it. And it's really easy to turn a shoulder because it's hard to say something. So that's kind of what I got. Unless we have any more questions or topics you want me to cover, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We really appreciate it. There's some handouts up here and some flyers of information. If you need anything, and then if you want to contact Megan, I'm sure it's up there.
Yes, I have my card over here, and if you guys know anywhere that you haven't seen flyers or info of APOC or Green Dot out that you can suggest to me, we're always looking for ways. I have all sorts of different flyers over here too if you guys need them. And I was going to do questions, but you guys just get a coffee cup because I brought 4. So
Thank you.
yes. Thank you.
I would love if you have something I could take to